And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. On this Monday, we are going to get to the super thanks from the last couple of weeks because I didn't get to them last week. But before we do, let me give a shout out to the channel members. Shout out to Gary, also known as G the Great One. Shout out to @Adidas20, Dr. Les Barrett, and Dwayne S. Honor. Thank you all so much for being a part of the membership. And the title of the video doesn't come from one of the super thanks. I'm actually going to give my final thoughts on this whole Starting Five series on Netflix featuring the Deer, Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, Sabonis, and the Celtics guy slipping my name at the moment, but you all know who I'm talking about. It'll come back to me. But I'm gonna give my final thoughts on this. I had intended to do it episode by episode, so if you saw my first video, I think Friday, I was just kind of going over my thoughts from the first episode. But as I was watching it, I was like, let me just get this over with. Let me get this over with in one video because, I just need to get this out the way because it was kind of hard to watch. But anyway, before we get to that, let's go ahead and get into the super thanks. First up, shout out to @Adidas20. This is coming from the real reason JJ Redick was hired to coach LeBron James, Bronny James, and So, and he comes through with the $2 super thanks, and he says JJ is there to let Bronny play over better players. Yeah, and I agree. I think the real reason JJ Redick was hired is because he would do whatever LeBron wanted him to do. I couldn't see Darvin Ham going along with this Bronny situation the way that JJ has done all the capping, talking about he's earned it. And, JJ's been pretty defensive about Bronny. Anytime someone in the media brings it up, JJ gets defensive about it. So I think this is exactly why he was brought in. And now I know a lot of fanboys are probably excited because the Lakers have started off well this season. And, I really don't have anything to say about it. I'm going to reserve my judgment until he gets quite a few games under his belt. But anyway, I completely agree. But shout out to @Adidas20. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks, and thanks so much for being a member of the channel. Next up, shout out to @TheDoctor3196. This comes from my LeBron James says, ask Bronny, he's a grown man video. And he says, we really have to question LeBron's mental health. He's pretty compulsive in his overall planning. It's like he dreamt of some epic movie playing out with this Bronny situation and never bothered to actually look at Bronny's skills. Now he's just that guy at the blackjack table at 2 a.m. just endlessly losing while reeking of a cigarette. Indeed. Shout out to @TheDoctor3196. Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, I don't think this played out like LeBron James anticipated. And, I guess the real question is, did LeBron James know that Bronny is actual terrible? Or is LeBron James is blind to Bronny as he is to himself? That's the real question. Did LeBron James actually know that Bronny is terrible and he's completely just doing this because for his own legacy, which I think he's doing it for his own legacy, either way it goes. But, did he actually know Bronny is terrible? Or, like I said, is he as blind to Bronny's level as he is to his own? But anyway, shout out to @the_Doctor3196. Thanks so much for the $2 super thanks. Next up, shout out to @ThanosSnapFeminism, one of my favorite names. This is coming from my Chris Mad Dog Russo video. And he says, the tears are from LeBron brushing his hair and his brush catching on one of his sew-ins. So I'm assuming he's writing that in response to the fact, I think I talked about in that video about how LeBron was tearing up in the post interview after the game, standing there with him and Bronny. And I was confused, like I said, it took me aback because I was like, I didn't understand how you could be so sentimental about a manufactured moment. It's not like this proud dad moment like, oh man, my son has worked so hard and now he's in the NBA with me, man. I can't believe it, man. It's a good reflection on me as a father that my son would work so hard and, it makes me feel good to see that he has earned this moment. Like it's not that. It's like, he suffered cardiac arrest, so he never got to do well in college, supposedly because of the cardiac arrest. Like I said in another video, I'm sorry, I don't think that's an excuse of why Bronny is no good. I think, anyway, we'll get into that later. But yeah, like to see LeBron getting choked up over a manufactured moment was just very confusing for me. I just really don't understand this guy. It's like, it's like, are you that delusional that in your mind, this is what you thought? Like it. But again, if LeBron James thinks he's earned it, he probably thinks Bronny has earned it too. Again, if he's delusional about his own self, he's probably just that delusional about Bronny, if nothing more than the fact that Bronny is his son. But anyway, shout out to ThanosSnapFeminism. Thanks for the $2 super thanks. Oh, and we have ThanosSnapFeminism again coming through with the $5 super thanks. This is coming from the same video, and he says, 2 minutes and 47 seconds, a plus minus of -7. This reminds me of the presentation of Simba and the Lion King on Pride Rock. The only difference with this one is that they drop Bronny off of Pride Rock after they present him. The Lakers, LeBron, and the NBA have sent Bronny to the G League. Hopefully, they can be the first father and son to be put on posters in the same week. Indeed. Now, I actually don't remember the Lion King that much, so I would have to go back and look at it to know what you're talking about. But yeah, that's a more realistic. That's a more realistic thing is that LeBron and Bronny will be put on posters in the same week, because apparently LeBron said maybe him and Bronny can catch an alley-oop in the same game. That's never gonna happen. But anyway, shout out to @ThanosSnapFeminism. Thanks so much for the $5 super thanks, and thank you so much for the continued support of the channel. And last but not least, shout out to In the Groove 56 coming through with the $2 super thanks, and this is coming from my first reaction to the Cap'n 5 on Netflix video. And he says, thanks. Just to make a point about the current situation of the NBA, artificial intelligence. There are no facts to support the bigger, faster, and more skill ideology. The game of basketball has turned into a business as opposed to the sport we all know and loved, which allows the ridiculous show of nepotism to be sanctioned. Even the terminology supports the evasive means by which they describe the events taking place. Earned but not given is the cheat code they use in reverse. Facts. The chosen one from the beginning was manufactured to create a legacy for a player who hasn't earned the right to be placed in the NBA elite. No cap, which means no lies. Really sounds like once a liar, always a liar, and those fanboys and the media have started to believe these lies. Shout out to @InTheGroove56 for that comment. Facts, and more facts. And he says, the fanboys and the media have started to believe the lies. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. I feel like the people who really believe in this, these are the people who have similar character traits to LeBron James and to Commissioner Voldemort and to Shannon Sharp and to Nick Wright. Basically, all the people who will cap for $1. Or all the people who are willing to take shortcuts. To me, these are the people who are still supporting. Because to me, by now, if you haven't woken up to the fact that LeBron James' career is a sham, to me, it's willful ignorance, or like I said, it's the case of, I'm going to support your BS so that it justifies my BS. Because, like I said, I think a lot of us on this channel, including myself, I've said many times, I started out indifferent to LeBron James. Like, I did not dislike the guy. I was hopeful for what he may become. Kind of the same way that I wasn't a fan of Kobe Bryant at the beginning. But Kobe won me over for the simple fact that you could tell when he was on the court, he was putting it all out there. LeBron James has done the opposite. Throughout the entirety of LeBron James' career, he has continually tried to find ways to do less and less work while maintaining or trying to garner more and more praise. So yeah, great comment from @InTheGroove56. Thanks so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. And without further ado, let me get into this starting five on Netflix. The ridiculous five, the capping five. However you want to classify it, I went ahead and watched all of it in one sitting. And I just want to give my overall thoughts of it. I'm not going to get too much into detail, but here's what this is what I got from watching this. First of all, the thing that really stood out to me is that nobody takes the game serious anymore, including the NBA. I think what's happening right now, and I think In The Groove kind of actually said something, In The Groove 56 said something similar to this. Let me read it. He says, the game of basketball has turned into a business as opposed to the sport we all know and love. And yeah, I completely agree with that. And within that, to me, what the real focus has become is advertising the product versus making the product good. It's like all of the energy of the NBA goes into advertising the product instead of making sure that they have a good product. It almost is kind of similar to Apple to me now, especially iPhones. To me, like every year, there's nothing significant that they've done that actually warrants buying a new iPhone every year that one comes out. However, they've done such a good job of marketing that most people will blindly race out and get the new iPhone every single time one comes out. And, to me, that's what the NBA is now. It's like the product is crap, but all of the energy now is in marketing and not actually having a great product. And to me, these series, this Netflix series shows that, because a lot of these moments to me, make a little more sense now after seeing that they were filmed. Like, for instance, the in-season tournament. I think part of the reason LeBron was going so hard is because he knew his delusional fan base. Yes, I'm talking about you, fanboys. You guys are the delusional fan base. He knew his delusional fan base would try to include that as some sort of championship, but real basketball fans could care less about that in-season tournament. So part was that, but now to see that it was also being filmed as part of this Netflix special, I know that that was more incentive for LeBron James to go extra hard, so to speak. You know, the fact that it was being filmed for a special, you know, is like a chance for some extra praise. It's like, man, I can win this in-season tournament. It's going to be part of this documentary on Netflix. This is a good look for me. I got to go all out here. And moments like Anthony Edwards in the playoffs, you know, looking back on it, you know, it seems like he was being extra for the camera. And I guess what it really comes down to is all of these players are motivated by the spotlight. All of them are motivated by the praise. And that's why I say, you know, it just really doesn't feel like there's any seriousness about the game of basketball anymore. It's more about these players' need for individual praise for what they can do in the game of basketball versus, you know, respecting the game of basketball for what it has given to their life, which is lots of money, for respecting the game of basketball and the players who paved the way for them to be able to have the lifestyle that they have now, and respecting the game of basketball for the practice and standards that was set before they came, and feeling a need to live up to those standards. These players don't have that. They don't have that, because to me, when you take something serious, you will have the need to live up to the previous standards. To me, when you're not taking the game serious, that's when you get this BS where these players are now trying to rewrite the standards. It's like, oh no, we don't want to follow the standards that the players before us had to hold to. Let's just make some new standards for us that feels comfortable for where we want to be. You know, we don't want to have to take everything that serious. It's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball. This is how these players feel. And watching this Netflix documentary, to me, there is no way you can watch it objectively unless you're a kid and feel like, especially if you grew up watching the players of past eras. Again, if you grew up watching the Larry Birds and the Magic Johnsons and the Isaiah Thomases, you know, and the Michael Jordans, of course, and you just, you know, go back and watch the many interviews, go back and watch the documentaries about them. To me, when these players spoke, you could tell that they were serious about the game of basketball. If they weren't serious about anything else in life, you could tell that the game of basketball meant something to them. Whereas looking at these players on this starting the Cap'n 5 documentary, you don't get that feeling. Like, you get the feeling that what's most important is for them to be praised. And, you know, I'll tell you another thing about this documentary. Another thing that it seemed like it was really trying to do is refute a lot of the narratives that the older generation thinks about the younger generation. Because it seems like they were trying to address some of the load management stuff indirectly and the injury stuff. And, you know, again, you know, just trying to make it seem like these guys were the ultimate competitors who were playing through injuries and all this. And it's like, yeah, no, you know, show LeBron James and and he actually tried to address, oh, well, you know, They say that I spend $1 million a year on my body. I don't know where that came from. You know, we know where it came from, LeBron James. And a matter of fact, it really doesn't matter what you spend a year on your body, because the fact is you don't play defense and you don't play 82 games. So this is when they show these players doing all this training and all these things that you know that previous players of basketball didn't have access to. You know, they showing LeBron James in the hyperbaric chamber and, you know, some kind of leg wraps that he put on and all these different things. Again, that previous generations didn't have access to. Yet, again, we're living in an era where LeBron James felt the need to tweet, why do we have to fly to Milwaukee for a preseason game? You know, because it's your job. We live in an era where these players are complaining more than ever about their job, yet they want to show all these workouts and stuff and pretend as if these players are putting in an incredible amount of work, which is just not the case. And what I really took from it is like a lot of these players just haven't grown up. You know, they just seem like kids. Like this is kind of things you would expect kids to do. And LeBron James is like a 40-year-old kid with $1 billion. And another thing I want to touch on. So they actually got into the whole Bronny James thing on this. And they were showing, you know, of course they were showing the highlights of him from college. But as I was watching them, I was like, to me, it was clear in those videos from college that Bronny's passion isn't basketball. I'm sorry, Bronny does not move like someone who's passionate about the game of basketball. And that was clear in the clips they showed from college. Now, obviously, he looked better in college than he did in the NBA. But again, he obviously wasn't that much better in college than he was in the NBA. You know, he looked a little more comfortable out there in college. But again, you know, there's just no dog in Bronny. You know, but anyway, yeah, we gonna hold up here. Like I said, that documentary, I wish I hadn't took the time to watch it. So, you know, maybe if nothing else, I've saved some of you guys from having to watch it. You know, like I said, just the general overall takeaways from that is that they were trying to refute, you know, trying to make these players look like something that is not, which is what, right? This is what they've been trying to do in the NBA for the last decade or more. You know, the whole bigger, stronger, faster, and, you know, like I said, showing these players working out, you know, Jimmy Butler, you know, it made me less of a fan of his. Because he again, to me, a lot of the stuff, he just doesn't seem, they all seem like trash talkers that aren't held accountable to have to be able to back it up. They're all trash talkers that don't get held accountable when they don't back it up. So yeah, Jimmy Butler, you know, it just some of the weirdo stuff that he does, and, you know, says he, you know, the emo look was to troll on media day. And I'm like, why is your mind even thinking like that? Like, why is your mind on media day thinking about trolling versus, you know, about the upcoming season and what you need to do to be prepared for the season? But anyway, I could go on. But anyway, yeah, it was ridiculous. If you haven't watched it, unless you're just gonna watch it for the entertainment value, and I mean entertainment to laugh at it, I would advise you don't watch it. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. For those who have watched it or who tried to watch it, let me know what you think. But anyway, you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.